Page 100, Mastermind. This is another solo piece you can learn to play for people. Let's talk about it. 4/4 time. You got treble and bass clef. No sharps or flats except for the accidental. So we're either in C major or A minor. Those are our only two choices. However, it's a little confusing to talk about key signatures here or what key we're in, because we're not really in C major or A minor, but the actual key we're in, because of all the accidentals they're showing, it's a different key. So don't worry about what key you're in on this piece. Let's just enjoy the piece. Starting with the right hand. You're up here on the C. You have a rest on beat 1, but then E flat here, because the E is here. You come down 1, and then another E flat. You got these E flats all across the first line. Second line starts the same way, E flats, and then third measure you got eighth notes, 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. Third line, second measure, a third line, there it is a D and an E flat together. They're cockeyed in the music because there isn't room to put them directly on top of each other. They would smish. So when they do that, they have to offset them slightly, but they're touching, and there's a stem going down. You'll play them together. Here. I'm not saying anything about what they sound like. That's just what to do. Huh? And then in the fourth line, you got that again. You got E flats all over the place. Isn't this wonderful? You're just going to love it. For the left hand, you're starting out down here. Thumb on C, put you in this position. But we got flats here too. You got a B flat here, and then an A flat, and then a G. So you got these notes. And it looks like for the first three lines, or first two lines, that's what it is. And then the third line, it's tied. You're going to hold that down for 8 counts. And then you play the B flat, it's tied, you're going to hold it down for 8 counts, and then you do the A flat, it's tied, blah blah blah, and the G is the same thing. Oh, isn't this wonderful? So that's the left hand. I haven't talked about road maps. A road map is like, where do you go, when do you go, where, because in the pieces we've been doing, you start at the beginning and you go to the end, and the only difference is if there's a repeat sign and you have to play something more than once. Well, now things are getting a little more complicated, so we have to talk about road maps. Where do we go? How do we get this piece done? So if you look at the bottom, the last line, not the very last, forget the coda, just down. It's the fourth line down at the end. You see above the stabs, there's an asterisk and then a DC all coda, and then a sign, a circle with the crosshairs in it. Well, the asterisk is pointing to a footnote at the bottom. That's not part of the music. Normally there's no asterisk. It's just DC all coda. And it could be DC all other things too. It's just right now it's all coda. It's coda sign, I should say. Coda sign. That circle with the crosshairs is a coda sign. They could actually leave out the word coda and just put in the circle and the crosshairs and it would be understood as you're going to theirs. The DC, da capo, I don't speak Italian very well. Da capo is, I just say DC, means go back to the beginning. It's sort of like a repeat sign. Go back to the beginning. You don't have to worry about any reverse repeat signs and getting in the way here because it's DC, not a repeat sign. So you go back to the beginning. Period. End of story. You see the DC, go back to the beginning. Al coda sign means go to the coda sign. And the coda sign you'll see in the second line between the second and third measures. Second time to coda sign. That's normally not what you'd see in the music. Normally you'd either just see the sign, the circle with the crosshairs, that's it. Sometimes you'll see the word coda and the sign. You won't see second time to. That's extra. They're being nice. They're helping you out. And it means you go to that point, and when you get to that point, instead of playing the third measure in that line, you jump down to the coda at the very bottom. You see that circle with the crosshairs and the word coda, and you play there and finish it there. It's all torn up, ain't it? Well, a coda is like a tag or just an extra little bit on the end of a piece. Normally, it's not considered part of the piece itself. It's just an afterthought. Now, it can be part of the piece, so I say normally it's just an afterthought. In this piece, it's not an afterthought. It's actually part of the piece. You have to go down there and end it. But you haven't learned the other musical terms and symbols you need in order to do it the way they would normally do it. But we'll do it this way. I don't want to confuse you or get you, well, what's the other way? It's a mystery. Yeah, it's a mystery. It's my secret. You can't. So when you get down to the bottom, you're going to go back to the top and you're going to play the first line and the second line, the first two measures of the second line, and then you jump down and you play the two measures in that coda. Now, in the coda, down at the bottom, you have a retardando, means slow down, gradually. And then on the half notes, you got fermatas on those, so you're going to hold those out longer. I'm going to double it and hold it 4 counts instead of 2. And then you also have a piano or P, subito, and 2 asterisks. Well, again, the asterisks are for footnotes. They're not part of the music. They're just pointing to the footnote to tell you what subito means. And that means suddenly, all of a sudden, without warning, just, oh, there you are. Because in here, at this point, you're loud. When you get to the coda at the first of it, you're loud there. And then that last chord, all of a sudden, it's soft. Real soft. Not really, really, really super soft, just soft. It has to be a big difference between the loud. Now in the right hand, on that last half note there in the coda, here, the notes are C, D, and E flat, has an 8 VA above it. 8 VA above it means go up an octave. So instead of here, you go here, and you play them up here. That helps to play them soft, because the higher you go, the softer you can play. And the left hand, that has an 8 VA under it. And when the 8 VA is under it, means you go down. So the note is written here, and you go down here and play it. Well, it's harder to play the low notes softly, so you have to do the best you can. Just push the note down slowly. But try and get it down at the same time. This takes a little practice. That's not as soft as you can play, it's just soft. And that's what all that means. Now they have a little pedal marking at the very end. I don't know why they do that. I disagree with it. I'm going to leave it out. You want to pedal there, you go right ahead. Play the notes, then push the pedal down, and then when you lift the notes, lift the pedal with the keys. That's all. But I'm leaving it out. To me, it's out of character. I disagree with the pedal there. Now dynamics, you're starting out loud, and that's the melody. That's the right hand. You got to keep this left hand soft. I want to hear that right hand. And when you get down to the third line, now you're soft. That's the melody. Decide how soft that is and then make the left hand softer. Third measure over, you're medium soft or moderately soft, just a little louder, not much. And then the fourth line, now you're a little louder, moderately loud. And then the last 2 measures of the fourth line, you're going to crescendo up, back up to a loud. And then when you go back to the top, the DC, you're loud. So it's the last 2 measures of the fourth line. There. And then the coda, you're starting loud. And then you're soft. All of a sudden. Cool. Let's try this together very slowly to double check the notes and the rhythms. I'm not going to do the dynamics. You can do the dynamics on your own. It says moderately fast. I don't know how fast. It's sort of fast. It's medium fast. I don't know. Depends on how I feel at the time. But we're going to go slow. You can forget all that. You can do that on your own. So I'm going to give us 4 counts. Let's play it together slowly. So go ahead and put your hands where they go. Now if you're going to use pedal, put your foot on the pedal at the beginning so it's there. I'm not going to use pedals. I'm not going to bother with it. 1, 2, ready, go. 4. 3, 4. To the top. 4. To the coda. Rest. 2. Hold. 2.